off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, you would write it off. So a lot of people, so this is where we get, some Moors don't know how to operate in commerce.
Okay.
So yes, having the knowledge of who you are physically matters, but if it doesn't benefit you, I mean, that's good. You know your family story. I think it's good, but there's more to it. That's what the other
I know,
Moors.
like my mother's family is pretty much from here, and my father's family is from England. Same difference. I mean, they, Britain. They came over here.
Yeah.
We came over there.
Be right back.
Yeah.
Same difference.
The beautiful thing is though, if you have a relative who has
What good, family? What good?
blood ties from here, that's why I told my mom, I was like, yo, I need grandma's death certificate because I need the name of my great grandma. Because I'm like, yo, if you have a relative,
I know. I have a whole book with like my mom's mom, my brothers. I have
there. So if you can show, and usually, right, this is applying for citizenship, and this is the beauty of knowing that you are melanin and you're everywhere. Because the original English folks or those Europeans is still us. So if you have relatives that are from over there, or like people do those ancestry DNAs.
Right, I was ask you about that.
I don't recommend that because you actually have to sign over the rights to your DNA. You don't have
Which
rights.
is a scam.
Okay.
There's no way any type of organization can tell you what your DNA
But let's say they do, okay? Let's say you've done it. Because I know people who've done it, okay? And they get the DNA test. The beauty of that, once you nationalized, if you took a DNA test and let's say they said, yo, you're from Ivory Coast over here, this, and that. Then you would then take that DNA thing and you would apply for citizenship in those countries that they said that you have blood ties to the land.
They won't deny you, logically.
You see, it's still just more of a benefit to you.
Right.
Because now you have rights to here and you can go over there and not have nobody messing with you with them fake little codes that those white people created there.
Yeah. And also too, your laws follow you wherever you go. As long as you're respecting the laws of, respecting the laws of the house you're in. Then if anything were to happen and you're in the right, you know what I'm saying? Then they can't try you according to their laws. They got to respect you according to your own laws. This is why also in the Bible too, it says, don't let foreigners place judgment over you. That's a very, very big thing. We're supposed to be placing judgment over each other.
Like say you watch a TV show, and somebody's from another country and they get in trouble with the law, they can't do anything. They say that they have what's that word?
Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, immunity. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But diplomatic immunity is tied with religion.
Yeah.
But not in the sense of the religion that we've been trained to think. Like, it's so crazy. If someone were to tell me that, religion was based on my business or my career or my company, they'd be like, this is my religion. I do this religiously.
I would say what is sticking out for me more since we've been talking is that nationalities come with religion as part of the culture, as part of who they are. Religion,
and so when we say religion, because remember, we also got to go back to thinking about it anciently, not modernly. So when we think about religion like a way of life.
Right.
Back then, there was nothing called religion. It was just, hey, how do you like to live? I like to live in peace.
Thank you.
So when I see you, peace.
Or like the Indian.
Or whatever word, how. Or how they would do how.
Symbology to keep them separate. You know what they you know their principles based on how they present.
Exactly. Yes. And that's all religion is. It's just what principles do you stand on as a man or as a woman.
In my life, like when I, for instance, became an Adventist, they have you get a day, when you get baptized and you have to say you agree to all their laws and
contract, right? Yeah. You gotta make a contract.
You have to sign something and you get a copy. But
but that's and that's what I'm saying. See, you have to physically sign a piece of paper to say, hey, I'm a part of this.
Yeah.
That's not the case with being, Moors. There's no contract to sign like I'm a Moor now.
Okay.
Or I'm part of the Moor Science Temple of America, so now I'm a Moor.
Affirming it because
it's about
robbed from you.
You know what I'm saying? The contract was made between your mother and your father when they decided to procreate. So that's not a contract that's written in words. That's written in your blood. You understand what I'm saying? It's blood. It's way deeper than blood. It's a blood thing. So anyone that says you got to be a part of a building or a group or a sect to be who you are,
right?
They're running a game on you. Because this day and age is about knowing. It ain't about believing nobody.
Okay, did you ever heard of this book? Is called Othello's Children in the New World?
Yeah, that's a great read.
Okay,
Have you read that already?
No, I was going to ask you about it.
Yes, get that book. Get that book. Everyone in the chat says get that book too.
You know what? I saw the guy who wrote it.
Othello's Children.
I think
Yeah.
before I met you. And I was listening to him, or maybe around the time I met you, I was listening to him, trying to figure out what all this stuff is about, you know.
It's all about us. It's all about us.
But sometimes a video is good too because you don't have time to read. But if you want what you're hearing in a video to stick, you have to read a book.
Yes, to make it make sense.
I have to read the book because it sticks. It's kind of like if you watch a movie on TV and they say, and you see a girl sitting in the living room, you know, by a window, and the sun is hitting her, you know, brown hair. You're not going to remember that, but if you read a book, you're going to remember the girl was sitting, there was a table, and the sun hit, and it was 4 o'clock. I remember all those little details.
Now, you know why you remember?
No.
Because you're the one that painted the picture.
Oh, okay.
It's easier to remember something you did.
Yeah.
That you thought about it.
Yeah, because you was TV's giving you the picture.
Yeah.
You were reading, so you had to create the picture
in your mind.
In your mind, so it's a lot easier to remember something you made than to remember something someone else gave you as a visual.
So now we're gonna order that book. You're gonna pay for it because I pay for it.
That's good though. Y'all take turns on books. I like that.
You know, my thing is I gotta travel, so I'm trying to hold.
Hey, listen, we gotta build wealth. Wealth is in books too.
I'm being facetious.
And also, you know, trust. Don't think like how we operate with trust. It just works here. It's universal, meaning you can be in any so-called country and do the same thing you would be doing here and still operate and still be able to protect your property and still be able to have things that you can pass down. So this is not just something, Moors or people, you know, this is a universal process that the rest of the world knows about. That's why you got nationals that come here, they'll get businesses, they'll make the funds, and what do? They send it back home.
Yeah.
They're funding their stuff back home. Because guess what? They're not from here. They're like, well, when it gets real over here, I'm gonna go back home. At least when I go back home, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be well set up.
Yeah, you got something.
So you see, that's their mentality coming over here. So we gotta have that mentality too. But the difference is we're actually from here. We're not from another land. This is our land.
So we gotta put something up for us.
For ourselves, yeah. No one else is going to do that for us but us.
I think, before we get back on track, what the points was, I was asking, what do we do? As far as in my trust, I'm still thinking about my daughter.
That'll be a beneficiary.
She's an adult.
Yeah.
Can I put her in my trust?
Now, you can put her in your trust. This is where the thing comes into play. Can you trust that she can handle running the trust when you're no longer here? Because that's what the ultimate deciding factor comes down to when we're laying out our trust, because when we're laying out our will. This is what I want to happen when I'm no longer here. If I have wealth, I want it to be passed down to this person. Now, if this person that I want it to be passed down to is incompetent, then I need to have someone in place, like a trustee, who I can say, hey, if something doesn't happens to me, Randy, you hold down the fort till you see that she's of age, then you give it to her.
But the beautiful thing, you know? Grandchildren.
Yeah.
It's amazing because our little 3-year-old, we asked him, I said, are you black? He said, no, I'm not black. I said, what are you? He said, I'm American.
Yep.
And what else did we ask him? We said, are you an alien? He said,
yep.
I'm an alien.
Yep.
I'm an alien. And we tell him what to say. You're an alien to the United States. And he repeated back, I'm an alien. He's happy. Like, I'm an alien.
Yeah, be comfortable with that.
But you see how they're little. So they want to be whatever grandma smiles at and says is good to be. So now you just got to fix that narrative and tell, when you spend time with them, did grandma ever tell you that you're American? Do you know what that means? And then you let them answer and hear what they think. And sometimes they're right.
Yeah, right on cue.
And then, or you tell them, if they say, well, I don't know. Well, this is what it means to be American, okay? So tell grandma, remember, you're not black. Say, I'm not black. And sometimes our kids look at us like we're crazy because they're like, yo, I heard other people say that they're black. But it's okay. We're not black. We're this. And you're layering it. As they get older, you're cementing truths in them so that when you are ready to transition, you know who to make that beneficiary because you taught them. You know there's no mistaken, there's no guess. You know that child's going to do right.
I wasn't really thinking in that line. I was thinking like, if you have a family member that is an adult and you put them in your trust, does that automatically take them out of the United States corporation?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, well.
Yeah, well.
That
saying,
I get what you're saying. That comes along with the alien status of being an alien. See, when you're an alien, you can have family members that are also not necessarily doing the same work you're doing, but family members who you consider as part of your circle, who you can have in your protection. Yeah. So nationality is a beautiful thing. So you when you understand,
that's basically
you can save them from themselves.
Yeah.
Essentially,
not to treat them like slaves.
No, I'm just saying because they don't know and they won't listen, right? And so for a time, I want to cover them, like my kids.
Yeah.
You know, maybe his kids. You're gonna
cover them. You put them in your trust.
You put them in your trust. Do they have to give permission? Do they even have to know about it?
No, they don't have to know about it. You could set up something where you say, "Hey, Randy, at the end of every month, you give her." You disperse to her whatever amount from the trust. She don't need to know about it. All she knows is at the end of the month she gets this disbursement. No different than what they do with Social Security.
She don't get nothing. I'm just saying.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's not something where you have to. But like if you want her to be able to, not only just protect it, but to be able to function with it, and you have a clear mind knowing that she's got it under control. Then you want to make.
But she's saying what she's saying is that to protect her children, can she put them in her trust? Like she basically her adult children still have a wardship status. Okay.
Yes.
So she's saying,
They're saying, can you go after your grown adult child?
Can I take that social and I can now put them in my trust like they're an asset of mine?
And so they're free, like I'm free.
Yes, you can.
They're only as free as you say they are in that context. So you see what I'm saying? Because now you're saying, okay, well, this is mine and I take care of it. And I, look, it's mine. It's here in my box.
Do you see the United States stop calling people black after they turn 18?
No.
All right. So that means the same rule applies. Flip verse. Law is universal, meaning it also has to be equal. So what they can do, we can do too.
Yeah.
You should never look at it like, oh, they're doing that where we can't. No. Law don't work like that. Yeah. If they're doing something, meaning if they can still classify us as minors at age 60.
They do that?
Yes. Then that would mean that at age 60, even if your daughter is 60, you have the same right to go after her. Even if you got to protect her from herself, because at the end of the day, it's about blood.
So if I have the rights to her after I do that, I can go if she's in a place if she's being held against her will, all
she would have to say is she agrees to come under your protection. So now, if there's a person she trusts more than her own mother, then she's
All
right. Because if there's anybody jurisdiction, I don't mind coming underneath. Yeah, you can release me to my mama. That's cool. You know what I'm saying?
And so isn't the other way around that too? Is just to create a contract. Even though your daughter is in that place,
power of attorney.
Still has her rights.
She can make you a power of attorney.
She can still make you power of attorney, where legally you could be the one. Or if you want her out of there and they're giving you problems, then once you've nationalized, you file an injunction against whatever facility is holding her.
Because I want to.
As soon as they get notice of someone wants to demand that we release, they're gonna release that person quick because they don't want to go through the legalities.
Exactly, and so one of the brothers in the chat just said, which is very accurate. I'm gonna say it right now. This is from Surabay. He said, right, but they can't contract with minors.
Yeah.
Okay.
So minors can't contract. If she's calling herself a black African American or ward of the state, on paper, according to fact, she is a minor.
But she's not calling herself that.
She's not, but we're talking about law. There's regular life and then there's law. All right. So in law, because right now we're suffering with law.
So are you looking at minor definition in Black's law?
Oh yeah. Oh, do you know the definition of minor?
No.
Oh, my bad. You know. All right. My bad. Let me slow down. I'm sorry. But yeah.
Listen, don't come up here
I have a
complaining.
Black's Law.
What's the word?
I haven't really used it.
Minor. Okay. I'm gonna look up minor real quick. And minor is not what you think. Not what you think at all. Let me see. So yeah, being that she as minors, they can't contract. So that lets you know any contracts the state so-called has with her is void.
Okay.
It's fraudulent because they can't make contracts with
And the
minors.
state, the saddest thing is that when we have relatives in mental institutions, those are private facilities.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted, you could create a
Okay.
mental institution, do all of the state regulations, and then accept patients. If you had a big enough space,
Yeah.
that's all they've done.
Yeah.
They're not government, but we think that if it says state institution, we think that, oh, they're government. No, they're putting that on their thing because the state has authorized them to be the designated one to collect the crazies. You know what I mean? Anyone.
Just let me
can
know
do
when you guys
that.
are ready. So, minor. An infant or person who is under the age of legal competence.
An infant or a person?
An infant or person. So they let you know it could be a baby or it could be someone who's grown.
Right, okay.
An infant or person who is under the age of legal competence. Legal
How could there be
competence.
an age on legal competence? You could be.
Exactly. You could be
Yeah,
9
it's
years
not
old.
that age.
You could be so right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's so
60.
that's why I said at 60 they can still call you a minority, a Black African American.
So it's a person who is
Under the age of legal competence. One under 21. A term derived from the civil law, which described a person under a certain age as less than so many years.
Yeah.
Okay? But minority, as you can see, they're not talking about we have more numbers over here and less numbers over there. They're talking about your legal competence, your ability to think past a child. Because would you leave a trust to him? And you know, if I transition, how confident am I that he's going to be able to run it at 3 and critically think about contracts, agreements? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just, this is why you can't contract with minors.
Well, I know that in the modern world, now I'm thinking 2 ways here, that a trust is for, where you're going to leave when you're down. But I'm thinking a trust as far as what you're doing and I'm trying to do here is to get me out of a system and put everything that I own and that I am and that I claim into this one.
So combine what I said and combine what you said and put them together
Okay.
because they're not different. That is what a trust is. It's there while you're living. You can operate and do your commerce and secure your wealth. And then when you transition, all your wealth that's sitting there, you already laid out who's it going to go to, where's it going to be. The state ain't going to take it. It's going to stay within the family, generational house or land, 3, 4, 5 generations in. Great grandma left this for us.
Yeah.
Big family story, barbecue every Saturday, every summer. Like, these are the type of stories we got to make. So that's what a trust is for. It's there to protect you while you're alive
Yeah.
and after.
You see, my oldest daughter, who I'm going to go for 2 weeks, she and her friend teach a class on this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And trust and stuff like that. But
Oh, I would like to go check that out.
Really?
Really?
She's in Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Okay.
Yeah, I've never really, took the class or anything, but I'm going to ask her more information about it. But it seems like if they're doing it and they're not national, then they're just doing it for the sake of.
And this is why people get locked up and in trouble, because now, remember back to affidavit, now you're putting things on the record that are fact.
Okay.
You're claiming to be of majority, but then you're still documented as a minor.
All right.
You see, that's perjury. That's why they spend time in prison.
I just asked a question that I didn't really understand. I was asking.
Property can't own property.
There was a question in there when I was
Property cannot own property. And as long as you're not, the spirit can never be made property, but as long as someone is taking your vessel, the body that your spirit is housing while you're here, as their property, then you're done for. Because you can't serve two masters.
Right.
Either you're going to serve inside self or outside self. And outside self don't got better intentions than inside self.
So basically, if you have a trust and you're still in the system, and when something happens to you, they can still take that trust and decide what's going to happen with it.
Because you're worshiping them. Because they're still your master. They're still your master, not your own ancestors. Because your ancestors are you. So essentially, you are worshiping or serving yourself, which is not really like a job.
So the first thing we're going to do is our papers. Then we're going to do, the papers will give us our nationality, right? And then we'll do our trust.
Yeah.
The papers don't give you, they just reaffirm.
They're just affirming.
Affirm.
You're declaring.
You are your own nationality. You're just reasserting the fact.
Okay, so once I do our papers, then we'll have declared our nationality. And a better word for me to understand that is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
To declare my freedom from.
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm going to be free, and now I'm going to create a trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that trust is going to be legitimate because now I'm free and you're free, and nobody can say, what we're going to do with you. For instance, if you're in a divorce and the judge decides you're going to get this and you're going to get that, we make that decision.
No, yeah, you guys base how that works. Because you know what? Because you're grown adults. You're not minors. So you don't need someone. Huh?
Like a will or something?
That's exactly you. That's exactly what it is.
For instance,
a will.
We're going to do that, but I'm just saying, once we're national or once we're free, we make those decisions for ourselves.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's where it comes into play.
They can come and take your children away from you if somebody says you're abusing your child or whatever. If you don't get your kids immunized or whatever.
That's because someone else is claiming an authority that's higher than yours as their creators.
Right, yeah.
That's all that means.
And even U.S. citizens, though, right? Like, if you know the law, then you're going to present a difference. So even if you were, let's say you're a U.S. citizen, right? CPS knocked on your door, you still have the right to be like, no, you're not coming in here, because there's a process that U.S. citizens are supposed to follow. So even underneath in that wardship status, there are a set of rules that exist, but most of our people just don't know that process. So this is about learning process. You know what I mean? Even as a U.S. citizen or a national, you have to understand the processes that are governing you, or what is your process in life. So once you know that, there's still a different authority. Because what I wanted to say, because you're right, so declaring your nationality, but you want to take it a step further because there's a record that has been created about you in the system. Okay?
The Census Bureau.
So you want to update. Not only are you creating these instruments of trust and nationality affidavits, but you want to take those new things. There are things that are old about you, but you're newly declaring to those institutions.
Like to your job, to the Social Security.
Yeah, there you go.
Birth certificate.
Well, you don't have to do anything with the,
I
see you're mailing those parts out.
Yeah, I've heard people, go in and correct the birth certificate. I don't even know why you would do that. I don't see the point.
I mean, it's just saying. But there's a number on that birth certificate.
Yeah, so it's not even like an organic, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, why would you go back in and correct it? If anything, authenticate it. That way you become the holder in due course of that. Because everything that they do when it comes to court and stuff, they're charging or processing or prosecuting people through their birth certificate, which their social security was created from, which all the stuff you got, driver's license, state ID, all those stuff come from that birth certificate.
Right, exactly. So why do you
Because it's proof of the fraud.
One, it's proof of the fraud, so you want to hold on to your evidence. Because remember, it's a case. Life, if you think of life like a big lawsuit, all right, and all your experiences that you gain through life, those are your facts to build your case. Because at the end of everything, when you got to see your creator again, they're you know what I'm saying? That's what they call Judgment Day. Someone's putting who on trial. So they're going to ask you for your facts with certain situations. So that's how I look at it to make things easier for me to, comprehend.
But that's essentially what life is. So everything you gain, those are your facts that you're adding to your case to affirm, to make that foundation more stable and firm. Because I tell you, my foundation is a lot more stable than it was 6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Looking at myself now, there are things back then I was shaky on that I'm looking at, I would just laugh at you like.
Like, how do you know that America is Morocco? I just laugh at you like, I don't gotta tell you. Go read George Washington's. Go read George Washington's letters. Nothing I'm saying. Go read that. Go read the words the man himself wrote.
Well, when I think about the birth certificate, I think of the whole. When I first started studying all this stuff, I came upon sovereignty. Yeah. And like I told you, how they're using the birth certificate, the number, the gender, the acceptance for value, and stuff like that. So if that birth certificate was used for that purpose, then it seems like there should be something that I do to reclaim it back.
Definitely.
Yeah, but a lot of people, like I said, their agenda is to use that to go and use it for discharging or taking out loans and stuff like that. I'm simply saying strip them of all their weapons. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That birth certificate is a weapon they use against you. Just like the driver's license, just like the social security card. Those are all weapons they use against you.
It, then it's mine.
It's your weapon to use.
But here's the thing though. It's not that you take it and then you're using it. You strip them and then you put it on a shelf as a souvenir. You know what I'm saying? That way they have nothing to use against you. Yes. They have nothing to use against you. That is the point of it. It's like, creating your walls of defense, and you should have more than one wall.
And so then you would send this paperwork there. So
yeah.
That was my question. Okay, so.
Yeah, but it's all about the mindset, because people have, like I said, they have the mindset of, I'm doing this for financial purposes. I'm going to start discharging things. And I'm like, yo, this is one of the weapons. This is their biggest weapon that they use against you. And you're thinking about how to use it to make commerce.
No, how to use it against them.
No, you should be like, how do I take it from them? How do I disassemble this weapon?
Right.
You know what I mean? How do I get rid of it?
Truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
So you can't use it. Because like you said, that's one of the biggest weapons.
Yeah.
So they can't use it. Like I say, you take something big from them, then they think, what can we do now?
Right.
And guess what? The more you take, they're already running out of options. So I'm like, they ain't like they got a lot left. Besides people continually identifying as Black, African American, or continually just utilizing those things they use every day, Social Security card, and most people don't even know about this stuff.
Yeah.
So they're just living life like, I just gotta take care of my family. I gotta do what I gotta do to make sure make ends meet. They're not thinking about, I'm someone's property right now.
So after we get the self-identification and we all do the authentication of the birth certificate, what's next? I think for me it would probably be the business aspect of it.
Oh, and here, let me grab let me grab the birth certificate I got authenticated.
Okay.
I would even say, when you say, how do we live? Yes, that business is of utmost importance now, because once you know how you operate in commerce, and man, I love people like you, because you already done a lot of the work. You know, the nationality piece is the only piece you need. Okay. That's why I asked you. So you're an author, you're a life coach, you're a musician. You have all these beautiful gifts and talents that you can now operate fully in commerce. But also remember, now that you're awake, it's not your job to awaken other people, but should you decide to use your skills, you have a lot of skills that would wake folks up, okay? Or that could uplift humanity. So it's kind of like now, besides and not even besides the Personal Freedom Center, but within that, you have your own gifts that are operating. And then, like you said, I am employing other gifts to be operated too. So now you see how You've created jobs.
That's not mine, but that's the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that was created when I was born. So what I did was
this is the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been passed. It went through the process, went through Maryland State, and then also got the seal from federal. So now I'm the holder of due course.
Okay,
but
this part before.
I am not Reginald Jules.
Okay.
You see? Yeah. I am not Reginald Jules.
This is strong.
I'm Kumar Suel.
Okay.
I am Kumari Suel. But
Okay,
this
so-
shows that I am the holder of the
Oh.
original. So
Okay.
no one can use this against me. Because
Okay.
I own this.
Because nobody can use
Righteous,
Reginald
it's good to
Jules.
see you, Ivy.
Huh?
Because
No one can use Reginald Claudel Jules against I. I own that.
Because that's yours.
And I've shown now in their system that I've reached the age of majority because I actually voluntarily went and got this process done.
So, well, if I do it, am I gonna get something like this too?
Yeah.
But you gotta, how do you do that? You gotta go back in your past.
You buy your.
No,
do you have
no,
your
you
certificate of live birth?
Yeah, if you knew.
Yeah.
You take that.
Okay, yeah, if you have that already.
You're gonna mail it to the state.
Yeah, you know
sorry.
when you was born. So put it like this: if you were,
To Connecticut.
we'll just start from the back. If you have, let's say, you just have a birth certificate.
Mm.
What you need is a certificate of live birth.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay, you can go
Oh,
there.
that's
So
different.
you can call vitals is different.
Okay.
Think
So
about
no, I
think of
don't
it like
have
the
that.
full form birth
Well,
certificate.
some people though, like mine's is a certificate of live birth. So I want to say after a certain time period, they start charging you different. So some people have their certificate of live birth. You just want to look at your thing. I have my certificate of live birth. I've always had that. My mother gave it to me.
Okay.
But some people don't have the actual certificate of live birth.
You meant the birth certificate.
It's just, well, it's a difference. Some of them, like if my older children were born in Ohio, I have their birth certificate.
Right.
The birth certificate only says the name, you know, the generic stuff. Who's the mom? Who's the dad?
Right.
The name of the child, where they was born.
Yeah, occupation.
The certificate of live birth says the doctor's name, what
Okay.
time they were born. It's just a more
Mine says- it
extensive
says,
record.
Like, what my mom was doing, like her occupation.
So yours, you must have the certificate of live
Okay.
birth. You just look at it. It'll either say birth certificate or certificate of live birth.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
So I didn't
I'll
know
ask a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I know I was born in the state of Washington. You go to the state of Washington, you can get them both, right?
Yeah, certificate of live birth. Yep, right at Vital Statistics. You can order it online. You don't even have to go there.
You can just call them over the phone.
Okay, so you got that?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I called. See, 'cause I was so-called born in Maryland. This is part of the brainwashing too. I wasn't born in Maryland. I was born in North America. But being that my straw was created in Maryland, so I
Mhm.
called the Vital Statistics Bureau of Vital
Statistics.
Statistics Bureau Statistics
Bureau of Vital
whatever it's
Statistics,
called, Vital whatever.
I see it's in all caps too.
Yeah, of course. 'Cause
Yep,
it's
that's
a
right.
entity.
Ivy, the
I
long
called
form.
them. I ordered with the lady, argued with the lady for about 30 minutes as to why I'm paying for my own information. Of course, because it just didn't make sense to me. Why am I paying $30 for my own stuff? If I wasn't born, you wouldn't even have this for me to be requesting. So how am I paying for it?
Okay,
But
so
either way, I paid for it over the phone, and it was sent to me in the mail. So once I got it in the mail, what I got in the mail was the certificate of live birth.
so they shouldn't even have a copy anymore.
No, this now became the original.
Mm-hmm.
So now, at the time when I got this was just a certified copy. But what happens is when you go now, so once you get that back, then you got to get it sealed by the Secretary of State in the state where the straw was created. So for me, I have to get the seal from the Secretary of State of Maryland.
So you had to go there?
No, you mail it. All
I mailed
mail.
it out. You don't got to physically go there.
I would
You can
mail it out.
call-
I'd be scared I wouldn't get it back.
Yeah, no, well,
Oh, they'll mail
well,
it
no,
back.
you can send it out. Put it like this: I sent this out regular mail. I didn't put no certified
Okay.
mail or nothing like that. Some people can do registered mail, certified mail to ensure you can track it.
Right, yeah.
But I just did this regular, put in the mailbox.
Mm.
All right, and it came back just fine. Because trust me, they're not going to mess with things like these because these are legal documents.
Okay.
So that would be called mail fraud.
Yeah.
Now, if I said, "Hey, my mail got tampered with," I'm not lying. So I'm not worried about perjury. Somebody over there know they done tampered with some mail.
Yeah.
So the truth is going to be caught, it's going to come to the light either way. But yeah, so once you get that back from Secretary of State of the state where the straw was created, then you send it out to DC, to the Department of State. And then they get the Secretary from the Department of State puts the final seal on there.
Okay.
And you also get an annex number. Now, annex means when you move something from a smaller jurisdiction to a greater jurisdiction.
Okay.
So think about minority, majority. You moved something from a smaller jurisdiction to a larger jurisdiction.
You would think it was the other way around.
No. So now, majority.
I know, but in my mind, I would think it was the other way around because you're coming from a big old, state or country.
See, and I think people think
you're right. It
people
don't.
think United States is big. It's very small compared to the rest of the world. United States is very. Just think about McDonald's. Think about McDonald's like at the mall or something like that. That's not big. That's small compared to the rest of the mall.
Yeah.
Forget about the rest of the state.
Okay.
So that's what the United States is. The United States is very. So this, compared to the rest of the world, is a very
piece of
small group of people who misclassify themselves.
I guess
You know
what I'm trying to say is, when I come out of the United States,
Yeah.
now you're saying I'm a part of the world, but it seems like I'm not a part of the world. I'm just a part of my, what do you call your Sunil University or your network of people who are national. Right? So it seems like the number of people who are national are smaller than the number of the people in the United States of America, and that's why I said it seems like it would be, you're coming out of a bigger organization and going into a smaller.
If we're just keeping it here in North America.
Okay.
I'm talking about in comparison to the rest of the world, because how we're operating in business, the rest of the world operates like that. The same thing, how we have a trust set up with an EIN number. Someone in Mexico has that. Someone in Haiti has that. Someone in Jamaica. Someone in Switzerland. Someone in Taiwan. We're all doing the same thing.
So why do we still need an EIN number business if we're separate from the entity who's enslaving us?
Well, this is my thing. If we had our own stuff, we wouldn't need that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is some people still need to function. I'm realistic. I'm not saying national, all right, cut off everything you do now, go back to the woods. Because that's what had me stuck for a while when I nationalized. Because I'm like, how do I live? People still need to live. So I got to be realistic. You can't ask people to just stop using their bank accounts. What I can say is we can slowly, get off those things. But while we're on those things, we can at least make sure we're still protected.
Yeah.
In a way where we're not going to be, messed up. But we still got to be able to function. So it's about being strategic. It's not about being impulsive.
Right.
We can't be impulsive.
Right.
And so that's what we're talking about. How do I live? Like as far as
how do I live because we are under. Is another thing people got to come into understanding with. Like people don't want to accept the fact that we're under occupation.
Yeah.
There is a foreign organization or group of men that are running our government right now on our land. Right. That is the fact. We're not running it, someone else is. So that's why we use EINs. Why? Because right now we're under occupation.
What is that?
Someone else has a system that's not organically ours.
Right, okay.
And they're operating it on our territory.
Yeah.
Not that we're in their land and we're subject, because if that was the case, we could just leave and go to another land. We're on our land already.
I sent you a video about how they came in during Christopher Columbus and they killed all those Native Americans. Did you watch that? Did I send it to you?
Yeah,
it was horrible. How they?
It's not.
We
know the stories.
Yeah.
No, but these are Native American people telling the story with actual pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And how they even killed their buffalo when they couldn't get rid of a certain tribe and they were still fighting against them and overcoming them. Then they started killing all their livestock.
Yeah.
It was like a pile. Yeah. Like the Jews in the Inquisition. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the Inquisition, was about. But the thing about law is that in nature, when it comes to nature's law, is a remedy for everything. There can never be a law or something put in place to where there's no remedy. There's
no way of escape.
There's no way of you being, if you were to be damaged, there's got to be some way of putting you back to a better position as if the incident never happened. So this is a maxim. This is a maxim of law. Think about So when I say maxim of law, think about the 10 Commandments. When I say this is a maxim of law, this is like one of those commandments. Okay? So one of the commandments is damn it, I just lost my train of thought. I forgot what I just said.
You're talking about law.
In the commandments, I don't know what commandment.
No, before that. Oh my God. We were just talking about
the 10 Commandments. I said it sounded like the Bible.
Yeah. I just didn't know where you were going.
Oh, remedy. Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah. There always has to be a remedy. So that's a maxim. Yeah. Right. Now, they can't directly tell you They're not obligated to. But what they will do is they'll put it out in different various ways. And it's up for you to be able to hear it or be able to see it.
Isn't that obligated to do what?
Tell you directly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you have a birth certificate here.
Okay.
It's currently putting you under chattel slavery, but if you were to go through this process, no one will be able to use it against you in a malicious way. They don't got to tell you that.
They don't.
But if they did, you would be able to help yourself.
Well,
You'd be able to remedy.
A real adult, when you have a child, real grown-ups would know what they're applying for before they apply for it. So think about it. Most of us, or at least me anyways, when I had the kid, I asked my mom, what do I do? My mom said, okay, now we got to go. We got to apply for a birth certificate for the baby. Did you fill out the packet that they gave you?
Me that in the hospital.
So you see how we never know firsthand. There's always a third party telling us what to do.
Yeah.
We don't know. I should have had a baby. Before I had the baby, I should have sat down to see, okay, when you have a baby, what do you need? Then I would know these things, and I wouldn't have applied, or I wouldn't have done things.
Right.
But because I didn't know, I took third-party information. That's the sin, is that we take third-party info.
Yeah, and you know the thing I was saying with the remedy part is because you asked why we're using EIN, and I was saying we can still use that while being under our treaty protection still. So it's not like I'm using an EIN and I'm not connected to my treaty. So either way, you can say, oh, the EIN comes from the IRS. That's cool. There still has to be a remedy in place to fix a wrong, because the whole system is built on fraud. So the whole thing is wrong. The whole thing.
But why do you even need the EIN number? Just to file taxes?
To keep operating. Right.
Listen,
now.
when you're foreign, you don't have any filing requirements. It's literally, because it's put it like this. The way this current system functions, if you were to get a job, either you're going to have a social security number or you're going to have an EIN number.
But remember, at the end of the year, if you line everything up, right,
I know. No, I mean, I know what you're saying about that with the
no obligation. But
I know what you're saying about that with the tax write-off. But what I'm saying is you don't have any filing requirements. Right. Okay? Yeah. You don't have any filing requirements. You don't have any obligations to file anything that you do with your trust. If you do, that's you making a contract that you're going to have to be liable for. So this is why we got to know the type of contracts we're getting into. You see what I'm saying?
So if you don't have an EIN number in your national and you operate a business without an EIN, is that breaking the law? Is that illegal?
No, it's not illegal, but it's just a question of, like I said, it would make things a little bit more interesting in terms of functioning.
Yeah.
But as long as you can figure out your way, figure out your way. My thing is, I don't like to do things in a way where people are left in a place where it's like, either do it this way or it's not going to work. Right. I don't like to put people in that type of position, because I don't like people putting me in that type of position. Right. I like to have options. And as long as I know, what I'm doing, I can trust my creativity to create the best circumstances for me to work with what I got to make the best out of it. So that's why I tell people, some people, they want to go in there and utilize the social and stuff like that. I said, no problem. Go in there and correct the status on the social. Make sure it's reflecting that you're an alien, not a U.S. citizen. Make sure you're not black on that, with the census information. I'm not saying get rid of it. If that's what you have to do to make, to keep your ship floating right now, at least make certain corrections. That way you got some type of protections while you're using it. But we gotta remember, the whole system is based on fraud from top to bottom.
Yeah.
And it's being forced on us. And it's forced on us because a lot of us are not competent. Right. We just don't know. So we're just letting bad stuff slide. Yeah. That really shouldn't be sliding.
Like people just say, oh, I got a life to live. Forget about everything else. I got to live.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
But that's how they try to rationalize or make, making a bad decision make sense. Like, well, I got to do what I got to do, so whatever. And it's like, nah, I get it. You got to do what you got to do, but we can still be smart in how we do what we do.
If you don't, we were talking earlier about coming out of Babylon, coming out of the system, and there's going to come a point in time when we're going to be asked to take a mark. So we're told, right, by the Bible. Mm-hmm. And if we don't take this mark, then we're not going to be able to buy or sell for 3.5 years, right?
Yeah.
So my point is this. If you just tomorrow that happens, right? And we're just eating and drinking and living life like nothing's going on. You're gonna get the mark, right? You're gonna fall. You're gonna fail that test. But if you're already taking steps where you're saying, okay, I understand, I see clearly, I'm studying truth, I want to live according to it, and I'm going to take this next step. When that step comes tomorrow, and you've already been doing this for 5 years, you're not going to be scared because you know you can live without it. But we're so dependent, on these systems to live, that and people who are not getting ready now are going to be stuck in a bad situation, like I said. For instance, you got a job, right? And the bank's closed. And you've got $100,000 in a 401k, and they take it, and you're planning on retiring with them.
And the bank is closed. Guess what? You can't access those funds.
That money. Now you can get that money now, or maybe even half of it, and take half of that money. Because if you take it out too early, your job, whatever they were putting in to match it, they can take some of that back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even if you walk away with $50,000 now, it's a nice stuff. Yeah. Okay. It's better to take that money and use it now to build yourself up than to lose it and end up with nothing.
Well, look, this is what people don't understand. Yeah. A lot of people are crazy because they are afraid to spend notes. And remember we read the Bankruptcy of the United States? What did it say? It said that the more notes you have, the deeper you are in debt. So it's not about I have $100,000 in my account. It's about I have $100,000 worth of assets in my trust.
Right, yeah.
Because like you said, if the bank, but a lot of people are afraid to do that because they think them keeping those notes, me having 3,000, 5,000, 100,000, that's me, I have something. Right. They don't know that you ain't got shit.
And then they think when the SHIT
you ain't got shit.
They think they're gonna have
all you got is debt. Yeah. So like you said, so that day when the bank closed and they can't get into the bank or the debit card no longer works, then that's it. They're done. But me, I got a car outside. So if something happens and Lord forbid I need something, I can barter and trade with that. I got, or even gas. I got electronics downstairs. You
gonna go to a gas station and you want to get out of town, right?
Forget about that.
Gas already.
It's too late.
You're not getting out of town.
It's too late. You should be getting your gas right now.
Somewhere. We should get an electric car or something.
For real. We need to get some solar powered cars.
Something, yeah. That's what I said. That if you wait to the last minute, you're gonna be in a tough situation because. Let's just take the Bible out of it.
Yeah.
And let's just say that we know that the American dollar is going to crash. And we know, like for instance,
it's already crashed.
It's already crashed.
It's already crashed.
$200 trillion in debt, right?
21 trillion.
Now, what's happening is like the Bitcoin was really getting really popular, and they took the Bitcoin and they squashed it so that the people who were profiting from it can no longer profit from it. And so now the government said, "Hey, I like that idea. Let's make a Fed coin." Okay, so they're going to use this Fed coin now to start getting people into a cashless society, right?
Cashless, paperless, right?
Paperless, thank you. It's hard to say.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
Into a paperless society, right? So they're still making plans all along. Even like I said, if you take the Bible out of it, they're still doing this anyway. And so now you come to a place where, you're not going to be thinking, oh, this is a bad idea. All right, you're going to be thinking, hey, this is the next cool thing. I can run my wrist over here. I can do this. I can buy movies. I can do, and you're just going to go along with it, not knowing that you're just more deeply selling your soul.
Yeah, they're pretty much wrapping the same thing, the same scam with a new color. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, this is a new thing, and it's like, nah, it's the same stuff.
And it's because
it's not new.
Everything that you do, they know what size underwear you wear.
They're tracking you.
What color underwear you bought. What you watch on TV. I'm just saying it's that deep. I mean, they know every literal thing about you because everything you buy or sell is going through that mainframe.
Listen, there was a
show.
Go ahead.
What's the show called that we watched?
The 3%?
No, it was a while back when they tried to. The government was after me and tried to escape if they go for so long. I think it's a month. If they could hide from the government for a month, they get $100 million, something like that.
Oh yeah. That was one of those.
They know all about them.
It was kind of like a game reality show,
Reality show.
Yeah.
And the government every bit about.
Yeah, they had to hide from the government. What was interesting, maybe somebody watched it, but I know that we were watching it, and it's because you had to live off the grid. You know, and whoever won, there was like 5 couples, right? And they had to live off the grid, and for a certain amount of days.
They couldn't.
14 days, right?
Yeah.
And whoever was still surviving at the end was going to win like $100,000. But they showed us things that the government was doing, like how they got cameras on every street, how they can even read your emails.
Yeah.
So what one couple did is that they came up with a thing where they say, okay, we know they're going to read our emails, but if you write an email and you don't send it, they can't read it. So it's a draft, right? So what they did is they took an email and they made a paper copy and they sent it to all their friends that they wanted to connect with on their, on their journey on this game, so that they could communicate without being caught or them knowing their plan. So what they did is they gave them all the email, they sent the email, and they sent the password so that they can all see the messages in the draft folder.
Right.
Because what I didn't know is that they could read your email, but they can't read it unless, it's in a draft form. So that was smart, but somehow they found out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how they found out. The government, remember that somebody mailed something?
Right.
And it went to the post office, and somehow they still found out. And I was like, I think it was their fault, though. One of the people's fault. I can't remember. But I guess some of the things that in that show, it was like a game show. What was the freaking name of that show?
Yeah, when you get pulled over your
they get your car tabs. They know who you are. Like they're following you. Like
everywhere you go.
Yeah.
I already know. Even now we're talking. Just even if I wasn't like recording this right now, I already know they got satellites that are like that can home in like a shotgun mic.
Yeah. But see, this
all right,
is
to hone in your conversation.
This is how Bitcoin started, right? So Bitcoin started on a underground network called NOR. And so NOR was created by these people who wanted to be underground and who wanted to buy things overseas, maybe even buy drugs, which is what it was being used for a lot. And it didn't have any connection to any bank. Like Bitcoin was like, I can send money to you, and if you were in Israel or Africa or whatever, and it goes from me to you.
Right.
There's no bank involved. And that's why the bank got upset and why they started creating legislation around it, where now they have to become licensed and meet all this criteria, So
now they got all these criteria and stuff you got to meet.
My whole point is now it's just saying I recognize that this is necessary, because if you start taking these baby steps now and they make sense to you, and they make sense to you, then you're going to take the next step and you're going to be prepared and you're going to be ready. So even like I said, when the Bible says that in Revelation 13 that it will cause all men, great and small, bond and free. Okay, it literally says they will cause all men, great and small, bond and free, to receive a mark in their forehead or in their hand, unless they accept the mark of the beast. Okay. Now, in the Bible calls the beast like a system that is created by these world powers.
A system.
Babylon. All right. So if you come out of Babylon, and the beast it's just there, but it's so funny. Like the more we study this stuff, I can see, the biblical connotations to it too.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I guess you got to start now, because if you don't, you're gonna be afraid. You're gonna be scared to live without this stuff, and you're gonna think, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
Is that Liberty Pole Cap?
So anyways, we're going to start number 1 through 5. I got number 1 through 5. Do our paperwork, do the trust, declare our nationality, number 1. Maybe write declare, so I know I'm going to have to feel like somebody's doing me a favor.
No.
Declare. Do the trust, number 2, or number 3. Okay, so is self-identification, get that authenticate the birth certificate, and the Social Security, we just send that paperwork to them. Mm-hmm. And into your job, if you have a job.
Yeah, you just it's updating. You just correcting the record.
And you have a video series on that, and I took a lot of notes, so I know whoever I'm supposed to send it to.
Oh yeah.
There's like 15 or 20 organizations I think you listed somewhere around there.
Yeah. So just want to read 2 more definitions. Okay. Alien. I just read this just now and I started laughing. Because I never read alien as a verb. I always read it as a noun.
Oh, okay.
Never read the verb. But alien as a noun. a foreigner.
Don't close it all the way because
So alien one is a foreigner, one born abroad, a person who owes allegiance to a foreign government. Now you have alien or alien, ALIENE or ALIEN.
I like the alien.
Yeah, as a verb.
Against you.
As a verb, it means to transfer or make, or make over to another. No, these comments are killing me. Hold on.
That doesn't make sense, does it?
Hold on, I'm not done yet. I'm trying to just see. All right. To transfer or make over to another, to convey or transfer the property of a thing from one person to another. To alienate, usually applied to the transfer of lands and tenements. I'm just learning more and more. It's the best thing ever to be alien as a noun and a verb. I need to be an alien, and then I need to alien my shit or my thing. Excuse my language.
Okay, you said land or what?
To transfer or make over to another. To convey or transfer the property of a thing from one person to another. So meaning we're transferring, right, property that was once under the jurisdiction of the United States over to a private foreign trust from one person, because the United States is a person, to another. My trust is a person. It's an entity. So from one entity to another entity. Two different jurisdictions.
Well, and one thing that makes this very powerful is because I feel like even though we have a house, we don't own a house. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing's really yours. You know?
Yeah, this is not about owning. It's about controlling.
Did you ever look up the word mortgage? They say it means debt.
Debt pledge. Would you like me to look it up right now?
Yeah, I've never.
I got Black's Law open right in front of you. I could.
Did you print that? I found it in an ebook.
Black's Law. No. I when I was working at the aquarium, I had to print this.
Okay, I think you told me.
So yeah, we'll pull up mortgage. Why not? People should know what a mortgage is.
Yeah, and so that means I don't feel like I feel I'll feel more powerful when we have our trust because then I'll feel like it's not the quote unquote stock markets anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As long as it's underneath the jurisdiction of the United States, they'll always have the final say so over it. So it's like. Yeah. That means even if you were a billionaire and you did all this work for your trust, it's domestic. The United States is.
They take the money just like that.
They could take it anytime they want. That's the messed up part about it. Like they sit there and they watch you. Hello? They watch you sit there and build your wealth, and then when they see, okay, she's about 20. All right, we could. All right, that's good enough.
There's a clause.
You know what I mean? They'll come in.
There's a clause in our lease for our house that because we live next to the river.
That's right. No mortgages.
Yeah, that if they need.
Never signed a mortgage.
Listen, there's a clause in our
never
mortgage, right,
signed the mortgage.
That says that if the government decides that they want to dig for coal.
Yeah, on your property. That's it.
Come and tear up our yard and dig for coal.
Yes, they can.
But they gotta give us something for it, so I'm over that.
No, I don't think so.
If they wanted, but not really. Not really, because you know what I'm saying, still consider their property. So, it's like they should, but they ain't really got to. You know what I mean?
Or what they give you is going to be a fraction of what
of what you could have got if you just did it yourself.
Like if you were the owner of that and you wanted to, tell them what they could have of your coal, then that would be different.
And you knew about it because they didn't know about it, but if they knew about it, then you'll look at this much money. If I give you this much money,
exactly,
and they'll take this much money,
yeah,
bigger and bigger.
Like when I did fundraising, they used my actual personal stories. Okay, they were stories that would make people feel something in their heart to give, right? So I raised over $600,000 in 1 hour. Okay,
what kind of
they paid me $250. My story made the fundraiser. So what do? They say, here's our guest list. We're going to invite these people. We're going to have it here. This is the venue. This is the food we're going to have. It's nice. It's decked out. Okay, they got the best thing. And then they say, we need a story. Who's going to, now that we have all these things, now what are we going to tell these people that make them dig deep? So they have to go and have to build relationships authentically with melanated people because we don't want to have the stories. Like we are, think about it, when we make music, people feel us. When we write things, people feel us. So they have to have our stories in order to get this energy in life. Okay, so they pay me $250 in comparison. My story raised $600,000. Did they give me any of that $600,000?
No.
Hell no. Even though they were championing me from overcoming homelessness. If I became homeless again, they wouldn't even give me any of the money that I raised.
But now they even want speakers. Like, say if you do a convention and you use their place of business, they want a part of your royalties.
Yep.
Forward. You see what I'm saying? So now what you got to do is say, hey, I want a part of your royalties too.
Yeah.
If you're going to benefit off my story, I want 5 to 10% off of what you girls.
That's right.
Well, that is what being a majority now.
Contracting.
So now I do my own fundraisers, and I want to tell stories that actually speak to our strengths. And we don't have to exploit people, because that's what it's called. When you get a fraction, they're exploiting you in the housing
You know what?
market.
Last year I took Lisa Nicholas. I don't know if you know I took her Motivating the Masses, and she gives me all the contracts and forms and everything, how to contract. But when you go into speech, because that's exactly what she was saying. She's saying that now. She says before you would get paid maybe like $5,000 to $6,000, and you can take your video, you can take your tape, and you can sell it.
Yeah.
The people who are sponsoring the event are saying, hey, why should you make that money off of us? And so now we're like, why should you make that money off of me? So let's sit down before you can get up and talk about it. You didn't know.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna know.
Yeah.
Because we got stories, believe me.
Definitely.
Like you said, why did I tell
I love my baby.
You ain't heard them all.
I'm telling you, right?
Hey, so I found mortgage.
Okay,
good.
I found mortgage. Yeah, you guys gonna like mortgage. All right, mortgage. And obviously, I'm gonna have to look up another word after this, but mortgage, an estate created by a conveyance, absolute in its form, but intended to secure the performance of some act, such as the payment of money and the like by the grantor or some other person, and to become void if the act is performed agreeably to the terms prescribed at the time of making such conveyance. Now, a conditional conveyance of land, a transfer of property passing conditionally as security for debt. Now, a debt by specialty secured by a pledge of lands of which the legal ownership is vested in the creditor. But hold on.
Ownership is vested in the
vested, and vested means fixed. Vested means fixed, right? So it's concrete. But it continues. This is where the chest comes. Now look, this is how they protect themselves. Hold on. Let me hide that. Legal ownership is vested in the creditor, but of which in equity the debtor and those claiming under him remain the actual owners. Did I get that?
Yes.
No.
So it said the creditor is the owner, but in equity, the debtor
is the owner,
or those under the creditor are the ones who are the owners. So what it says on paper, you're the owners, but in terms of real life and action, you're not.
Yeah, and that makes more sense to me.
And that's only because you don't know that you are the owners. If you knew you're the owners, you'd act differently, right?
Okay,
so a man thinketh, so is he. So if you knew, hey, I am the owner of this, then you would act like it.
I'm waiting for you to read that I'm not the owner. And so when you read I am the owner, I said that doesn't sound right. Did you catch that?
Listen, no, it says.
I'm waiting for you to say I'm not the owner, right?
Right, you're the owner, but of which in equity. You're the owner, but you're not the equitable owner.
Okay.
Trust deals in equity. Equity is fairness. So justice is about equity. So this is why we deal in trust, because now we're talking about equity. All right. Yeah. So now this is when you say we don't own nothing, we just control it because we're not the owners of anything. We just have the rights to use it. Okay. So we are equitable owners. Meaning we get the benefit off the use. The same way we get the benefit off the fact something created this planet. So we get the benefit off a nice sun, weather.
Yeah, but the equity is what the money we already paid into it, right? So there's
no, the equity is not about the money. The equity is about the interest. The rightful interest.
The interest.
Interest.
So I'm thinking of principal and equity. Principal means equity. Interest is what they get. The creditors.
No, I'm not talking about interest in terms of 15% interest. That's called usury. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about meaning, hey, I have an interest in this for my daughter. Let me see how much it costs. Or this would look nice in my house. Or I have an interest in that car. That would be great for us to run errands. Let me see. Let me go find out how much is that. I have this property here. You know, it's not mine, but I love the kitchen so much. I just added something that I wanted to put in there voluntarily.
Well, I'm talking about
so you can take an interest in whatever you put your energy on. You have a right to that. Wherever your energy goes, you have a right to it. Okay? So that's equity. Meaning you control it. You're not the actual owner, but you're the one in control. So they got us messed up because on paper, we are the owners, but in real life, we're acting like tenants. And then we're treating the actual renters and everyone who's below the actual creditor as the actual owner. That's why when they send you something in the mail for the mortgage, you send a payment back out because you're thinking you ain't the owner.
But you are the owner.
But you are the owner. You're the creditor.
But they're getting money from you.
2 times over, 3 times over, 4 times over, 5 times over.
I feel like I'm backwards in my thinking because I hear what you're saying, but I'm still repeating it in my mind the way I know it.
And how do you know it? Repeat it.
You just read it.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know. Okay, so.
Well, listen, it's not one time, you lay your eyes over. You gotta.
How can I be a creditor? Because then I would have given myself the funds to buy the house.
Now, this is where illusion comes into play. What did the bank actually give you? Did they give you funds?
No.
Or did they just give you a piece of paper that said, hey, there's some funds here?
Okay, so I did give my.
And not to mention, that piece of paper that said that there's funds on here wasn't valid until your signature was on there. Yes or no? So who's the creditor? Look at him, look at you, and look at each other. Because y'all the creditor. Y'all the creditors. Okay? Y'all didn't know you were the actual creditors because you thought the bank actually gave you something. The bank didn't have anything before you walked through that door. They didn't have any asset to give you. What happens is when you came in and took out that, they made you think you took out that loan, that went into their asset. They got an asset now that they didn't have before you walked through the door. Because you're the creditor. You're the money walking through the door.
They gave you a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's why, that's why they have, shows or commercials where they have people with dollar signs over them because we're the money.
So if you buy a house at $300,000, right? And the bank gets $9 for every $1 you put in. So that's 3 times.
Now, if they're getting $9 off of every $1 you put in, right?
Making this up. That's okay.
No, you're not making this up. But guess what? So you're supposed to be getting part of that royalty too, because that's your dollar. They're making interest off of.
How am I getting it?
That's what I'm saying.
But we're not getting that.
We're not getting. That's what I'm trying to say.
People who do acceptance for value where people are mad when they find out the truth, saying, "Hey, you screwed me over. Now I want my money back." You know what I'm saying?
Well, and that's the approach they say. But this is what we go back to. There's nothing in law. So don't think for a second that when they took the gold out, that they didn't think that they had to put a remedy in place for that. All right, that's where the HJR 192 came into play. That was also in the bankruptcy.
It was the
abrogation of the gold clause.
Okay.
Remember, anytime they make a rule, they got to make a remedy for it because some people might get damaged by this so-called rule they're passing. So there has to be a way out for everyone. That's part of equity. You can't just create something where everyone's just messed up and there's no way out. That's not equity. That's not fairness. All right, so that's not law. So you got to have equity. There always got to be a way out for someone, always, or a way for them to be put back in a position they were before they got injured.
What does abrogation mean?
Abrogate? Oh man, this is the best thing about having a book in front of you. Look up abrogate. I don't gotta guess nothing with you today, Gail. I don't gotta guess nothing. abrogate. You know, and yeah, so dealing in equity, best way to go. So yeah, that's where the HJR 192 comes into play. So we do have a right to discharge things through the Secretary of State, but you gotta know.
Right. Okay. You
gotta know, for one, that the United States is bankrupt and insolvent. If you think, oh, the government, you're messed up. So basically, if you think, oh, I got $1 in my pocket, this is money, you're messed up.
So you're saying that mortgage definition is saying that we really do own our house.
And what it's saying is that you pledged it. You pledged it. That's why they call it a debt pledge. You pledged it for a debt that you're promising to pay that you could never pay, because the only way to pay any debt is with gold and silver. So if you're not using gold and silver to pay off the principal, you're not doing anything.
And 4 years.
And 4 years, yeah. And for years, you won't see the principal budge. You won't even see the principal make a nudge. It just looked the same as when you first signed the contract. Because you're not doing anything.
That's why they foreclosed, because they're just going back.
They're just sitting there watching and collecting.
Like we're just going back to the beginning of the contract to take it from you. So they robbed you essentially of resource.
Twice.
So resource, the one that you're, the one freely given to you, and the one you worked for. Because most people go to work to pay.
Right. Yeah. So what you're saying is they took it once, and they got $2.7 million, and then you got to go to work to pay it again.
Yeah.
And so they're getting it a second time. But when you give it to them a second time, they're still times it by 9.
Yes.
And they're taxing it on top of that.
Remember too that a woman is born with all of the eggs that she's gonna have in the world, right? So most people go to college and then they buy a house after they get married. So that stress now is passed on to her offspring. So you see that even if you did fulfill the American dream, we have your future in our hands.
Well, wake up! Wake up! We ain't supposed to be dreaming. Be awake. Why you dreaming? That means you sleep. Exactly. Wake up! Wake up! Forget about a dream. Why I need a dream when I'm awake? I don't need a dream.
You're right.
See? So the whole American dream is for people who sleeping. If you're not sleeping, why are you dreaming?
I told you what my nephew said. Mommy, how do we know when we're asleep we're not really awake, and when we're awake we're not really asleep?
Yeah, I feel like we're more awake when we're actually sleeping. I feel like when we actually wake, this is actually a dream. If you ask me. But that's how I feel about it.
Nightmare.
Yeah, this is a nightmare, but this is the whole thing of keeping people asleep. And it's like when you put two and together, like, man, the only time I dream is when I'm not paying attention and when I'm asleep.
Did you ever see that Tom Cruise movie, Vanilla Sky?
Great movie.
It's a really good movie. You should watch it. It's a story, right? That
there we go.
Dude he was in love with this girl that he really loved. And then there was a girl that he didn't really love. He just had fun with her, okay? So he was this wealthy dude, right? And then he went to some institute so that when he died, or if he died or something, he could be living his dreams. Or it was some program where you could live your dream. Was it based on, not Illusion Bay, but what is it called when you're sleeping, you know you're asleep, but you're dreaming?
Like you're in a certain state of sleep. Like
it starts with damn, what do people call it?
I feel like it was that. It's not insomnia. It was that movie. Leonardo DiCaprio did it too. It was that name of that movie.
I can't. My brain.
I know what you're talking about.
It'll come back to me. But basically, he could have chosen to have lucid dreaming.
Right. Oh so yeah, there you go. Lucid
dreaming. He could be living.
Ivy was right
dreams, on it. Okay, and the program glitched, y'all. He was living a nightmare where he crashed. The girl that he wasn't in love with actually crashed them off of a bridge. It disfigured his beautiful face, and he's now in prison serving a term because he played with this girl's emotions. This is why she drove him off the bridge. So he's in a fucking nightmare, and he's thinking that, like, yo, how do I get out of this? Like, I'm here.
Like it's real life.
It was just a glitch in the program. He's supposed to be living the lucid dreams and now he's living the nightmare. They were like, yo, why didn't you just come back to us? We would have fixed your program.
Yeah.
So that's what we have going on right now. We are supposed to be living our dreams, like our dreams.
Right, what we want.
Yeah.
We're living America's dream.
We're living a nightmare. We just have to wake up. It's our mind. It's a glitch in the mind that just is like, oh, you're not dreaming. You're
It's their dream.
Yeah, based off the tell lies to your vision programming.
So it's kind of like what law does. It's like, oh shit, it's a nightmare. Don't do that. No, it's kind of like when you know law, you see the dream from the nightmare, and now you have a choice. You're like, I'll take the dream. I don't want the nightmare. You have to know that you have two choices.
That was a good one. Nick Cannon supporting the. That was a good one. It was like a glitch. Someone put, there was like a glitch, like Nick Cannon sporting a. There was like a glitch, like Nick Cannon sporting a turban. like Lauryn Hill holding up a Moorish flag at her concert. Little glitches like that.
Or Childish Gambino. What y'all talking about? Childish Gambino's video was beautiful.
Which one?
The one that he did.
American? It was American something. I haven't seen it though.
Have you seen that stupid?
I got to see that video then.
When they flashed the Illuminati symbol.
Now you know what that is, right? They're reinforcing the lie. See, most people don't know the truth.
But you know what else I saw Wendy Williams last night? I was watching.
Yeah, what?
I gotta watch that video.
You know what they had?
I definitely will. Islam to death. I bet.
The theme.
He woke. Childish Gambino woke.
Yeah. And they came down in these long, dark robes, looking like Satan, and the headpieces.
I'm gonna learn today. I'm gonna learn today about some Childish Gambino. For real.
Well, not even that they're trying to get us. This is where we have to know. So there's an agenda happening, right? So there's some of it is ours. So when I saw how they were dressing at the Met Gala, they're taking us back to the beginning. They're taking us back. But because we don't know the beginning of the story, we're living out the story again.
Are you talking about the same gala?
With the trading places. Yeah, so taking us to the end, no, they're taking us to the beginning of our story. I'm talking about, so that's why nationality is important, because there is a great cosmic family story that we're all a part of. And we and other families, other relatives in the story have duped us, and now we think that our auntie is our mother, but our auntie's not our mother. She's our auntie. So now you just have to get the story back right. You know what I'm saying? So from the beginning, everything was us. And they whitewashed everything to where now we believe that the first king of England was this white dude or this, someone that doesn't look like us. Yeah. So they just made everything look different. They took our stories and they made their faces.
Great length.
Yes.
Great length.
So we have to know the original story, not what they taught you in school is a lie, in college, church, a lot of places help further. It's like you go to one place, and when you think that you got the truth, they reinforce it with the lie again. So when you're like, oh no, well I thought nope, you were wrong. This is the correct way. Yeah. It's not, but every institution's job is to support each other. The church's job is to support the college and education and everyone else who are in these power positions. They're working together to keep you in alignment with the wrong story.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing like you see in the world. It's the same thing in the Bible.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Even now, like I said, they're still in the Bible. They're going through great lengths to portray all these different Herods and, the story of the birth of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And they've got all these, from the beginning, from Ra to Horus to, to Tammuz, and, to mimic one true story. And we know
just
that
one.
there is one true story. I'm not going to sit here and say I know absolutely what that one true story is. All I'm saying is as I begin to wake up, and I kept saying, well, why would they let us be free as slaves and still let us keep the Bible? Why would we escape England and run away from a taskmaster, but still take their book?
So when you keep saying that we we did not run away from
I'm not
England.
even talking about me and you. I'm just saying the people who did, and why would they?
Yeah.
Why would we think we're going to a place of freedom, but yet I'm still, this is the book that I enslaved you with. Here,
And I'm still holding on to
free.
it.
So
Yeah.
this is
You
what
know?
they
Yeah.
did. Christianity is a baby of Islam and Judaism. So they took one book in this book and they just said, okay, we're going to mash these ones together. We're going to put these parts in it. And here, take this book and read it. So they gave us a half of this story and a half of this story.
Yeah, but
and
just
made
because something
another.
came first doesn't mean it's true.
What I'm
either.
saying is Christianity is not an ancient religion.
I know, it's the new one of the newest
It's
ones.
one of the newest ones, so that means that story is wrong. Now, I'm a storyteller, and I'm telling you that in storytelling, you always have to start with the beginning if you want the truth.
Yeah.
That book that they gave us is not necessarily wrong. It's been modified.
It's not the beginning.
Yes. It's been modified. So we're going to find some
But this
truth.
is what I'm saying. In this time where I am, again, looking at Bible prophecy, and I can see, the agenda of Lucifer, who is now Satan, who has been cast out of heaven on earth. All right, because he wanted his kingdom ascend above the Most High. He wanted there to be a new world, and he wanted to be in charge of it. I can see how he's going through great lengths to mimic that story from the one true Father, Yahusha, and Yahuwah and Yahusha, who are actually going to reign on earth supreme. How he has gone through great lengths to come up with the Zeitgeist, to come up with the Illuminati, to come up with the Bilderberg, and use all these people.
Ku Klux Klan and all that.
The Ku Klux Klan, all of these secret societies to do that with. In the same way that they have gone through. So look at what we're studying here. It's almost like everything that I thought was true is not.
Yep.
In the physical world and in the spiritual world. In the Bible. You know what I'm saying? There's some things like I'm not going to say God can't protect his word, and he can. But he left enough of it there for us. Now, I don't just study Christianity. I study the background of all religions. And as far as I know, that Islam was also created by the Roman Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took the leader, the son or something, and they raised him up. I don't remember his name, but I just recently studied it.
Ever heard of Tawedo?
Yeah, and that little, I don't know his name, but like I said, I don't know.
No, I'm saying, are you familiar with Tawedo? Because that's what Islam was before it was called Islam. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wasn't always called Islam. Now, Islam
Right.
has been made that. What about Tawedo?
Right.
I don't know, and this is what I'm saying. They take so much, and so that's why I'm saying I want an environment where I can learn the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then I can see, like I said, to the effect that they have going through so much to mask the truth.
Yeah.
Look at what we gain when we start unpeeling away those layers of lies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
It's a lot of layers. Oh, and I found abrogate.
It's a lot of layers. It's layers, y'all.
Is that what I asked you?
Yep. You asked me that for that a while back. I didn't forget though. Abrogate. You ready?
Yeah, just a second.
Mm-hmm. Take your time.
Okay, good.
Abrogate.
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
To annul, repeal, or destroy. To annul or repeal an order or rule issued by a subordinate authority. To repeal a former law by a legislative act or by usage. So when we declare our nationality, what we're doing is we're abrogating all those colorable laws. Doctrine of discovery, etc. All those things are being destroyed because they only exist against black people or colored people. So
They do. So
It's
white
powerful,
people
man.
don't need to become national. They only exist
put it like this.
black people.
No, here on. All right, put it like this. I'm gonna make this very clear. I'm gonna make this very
Because
clear.
that's what I was
I'm gonna make this
wondering
clear.
sometimes, like, what if I
I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make this clear.
So
So for Caucasian peoples, they can only be here as U.S. citizens.
Okay.
No different how there's no way I could be in China, right? Unless I was part of a Chinese citizen.
Okay, I heard what you said, but not
Because and I say that because if they don't know I'm there,
yeah.
then I'll be considered an undocumented immigrant. And that means if they find me, they would send me back to where I'm initially from. So what I'm saying is if you're you know what I'm saying, part of that citizenship, then that's where you stay. But, you know, if you don't do that, then
Caucasians,
they can only be U.S. citizens here. Only way for them to be, as you would say, sovereign in their own land, they got to go back home.
Yeah.
You can't be sovereign in someone else's land. This is our land. You can't. I can't be sovereign in your home.
And
How can I come to your home?
They can tell you, yo, my grandma's German or she's this, because they know where they.
There's only one place they can go back to, Randy. There's only one place, and that's Europe. And they got to take some water back with them.
Oh boy.
Because that's all we gave them. And Europe is not even theirs. We gave them that. Okay?
How did they get out of the system? How did they come out of Babylon if they want to do it for a religious reason?
You know why? Because they're willing to take guns and kill people over it.
No, she's asking you how.
How what?
Honestly,
What you mean? How for what? Like,
if somebody was a Christian or a Caucasian and they wanted to come out of Babylon and they wanted to do what you're doing for the sake of coming out of Babylon. You know.
If they want to come out of Babylon, they got to come back underneath our rulership to properly be authorized to be here on this land.
In other words, join Sinel or whatever your name is.
Or they got to fall in line underneath. But I'll tell you my personal opinion on it. And maybe that's something that can be developed later on. Right now, where I'm at, I'm just focusing on our people because I feel like they have more. I feel like European people have more than enough organizations and things that help them. We need to stop worrying about them. They'll be all right. Look at where they came from. Okay, they came from the caves that we put them in. They'll be just fine.
So theoretically,
we need to start worrying about ourselves.
Though, I met a dude. He was like, "Yo, I know I'm not black," and his wife was German. Okay, and she looks Caucasian. Okay, and they said, "Well, what about us? What if we wanted to like be together?" Well, I told him. I said, the good thing is that she's German, right? So she has nationality somewhere else. So you should make sure that you have citizenship there. That would be one base that you have to cover. And then you're covering the other base of the national tying you to this land.
And see, the difference in my question and what you're saying is that I'm looking at it from a biblical perspective and you're looking at it as a physical, national perspective.
Like right now, real time.
So, and I think that this is the problem with when black people are... So I think that right now the only information that you should get is what do I need to be free? If the Spirit gives you that knowledge on how to save white people, then by all means do that. But
good luck with that, by the way. I just want to let you know. Good luck. Good luck and Godspeed.
To answer your question, if there was a Moorish brother, let's say there's a man, he's black, he realizes he's not black, he nationalizes, but he has a European spouse. He could, like you were asking, he could put her in his trust to where she is the property of. You see what I'm saying?
Oh
so
my
when you're
God.
asking like white people who are with folks who have a tie to this land, okay?
Yeah.
Only way that you get to stay is if you're connected to someone who has a tie to this land. So if you have a husband who is a Moor and you're not, okay? And this is where Moors get mad at me, okay? Because we live by love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's not a color, okay? So we have to know that this is a mindset. So once your mind is right and you know who you are, now it's not about color, because you have black people or people who look like you who will kill you as fast as a European. So it's not about color, it's about spirit, intentions, and principles. So if you're married to a Caucasian, and you've civilized them, they show you love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and they believe they're not trying to tear you down in any way, then yes, if the only way, if you nationalize, you got to put that person in your estate. I'm talking about like an asset, like you're actually taking their social and somehow making them your property. Now I'm telling you, I don't care about saving white people, but I would imagine that if we were going to, and not that I hate them, I don't hate them, I just don't know their remedy for it, okay?
Because it's not ours.
The remedy is go back where you came from.
Yeah, and be sovereign in your stuff.
But if you want to stay here,
run your house how you want to run it.
Paper, it looks like you're someone's
what's funny?
property.
Like what I just been revisiting. Like I said, I've been doing a weekly Facebook study on the Kingdom of God, which is I've been studying that message since I was 17. Now, what I came back to a scripture in Ezekiel which says that in the last days that God's going to send us back to our own lands.
Yeah.
You see, well, even he knows.
You got to send you back home, or you got to send some people's back home where they came from.
Yeah, they said it, just like they rounded you up, they're gonna round you up again and send you back.
So
you're right. It's a prophecy again.
Also, you need to understand that when you look at United Nations, you see them gearing up with all their tanks and stuff like that, coffins and stuff like that. That's not for us. That's for the Europeans who are not from here, because they're not gonna go peacefully. You comprehend this, right? Go back to Europe. They're not gonna go peacefully. Even if you look at the stats, do you know the majority of people cops are killed by? It's not us. They're killed by white. What do you call them?
Sovereign.
Yeah, white sovereignists. Those are the sovereign citizens they talking about. Them crazy dudes is like, we have the power. If you're not going to give us our rights, we're going to take it and we'll kill you. More cops have been killed by those type of guys. So they're vamping up and they're getting prepared for war with them. It ain't with us. We already home. They don't got to move us nowhere. Now, if you think you black or African American, guess what? You're going to be part of the problem. So they're going to move you out the way. So if you so happen to find yourself in a coffin with some Europeans that you shouldn't be in,
I'm gonna say they ain't gonna be sending us back somewhere.
Yeah, because you out in the streets protesting and you upset and you doing what the crazy Caucasian people are doing, acting like you're not from here. They're gonna treat you like that. So it's not our fight. We don't got. There's nothing for us to fight. We just got to simply stand back and watch the show. As once we're out of her, just watch the show. It ain't gonna got nothing to do with us, but it ain't our fight. So we don't gotta like ramp up and buy bullets and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying we shouldn't have our own form of protection, but they're not. When I say they, I mean like the United Nations or like Russia or Korea. They're not coming for us because they actually know the true history. So they know who we are.
Well, you should buy bullets though for those lawless individuals.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I said we still gonna need bullets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever you get.
Like,
listen, I want the babies to be able to make laser guns. Like, forget these bullets, man. I want to be able to just like a teleportation gun. I don't gotta kill you, but I'll send you to the moon or something like that. Get on my face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get on my face. I'll probe you to Haiti or something. Find your way back.
So let's wrap up a little because he worked last night.
Oh, my man, tired.
So that's what I think we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead. And then when I get everything ready, and by the time I come back, hopefully I have the paperwork ready. You guys can look it over.
The Most High said, "Come away from these people."
Yeah.
And I think it'd be a good thing to get something for got over a month to get something for the 4th of July.
Yeah, I think so too. I would like that. I would like to have a little event for the 4th of July.
Where's that?
Can have I would call it a hiking bill.
7 Quran. Yeah.
Is that a different?
I say a hiking bill instead of sitting down getting knowledge. We all go on a hike.
We don't
enjoy nature, talk about
Islam,
the knowledge and everything,
right?
and then we can come back. I like that.
It has nothing to do
I like that a lot.
with Islam as the way it is now, right? Because the Sharif law, that is that is Islam attempting to capture the Zodiac Constitution, right? All you need to do is live by love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You don't need all these long rules that people can never live up to.
I know.
You know what I mean? So we say Islamism because it looks similar to that. It looks like when you see us, like when he's outside walking with a fez, and most of the time I wear a hijab or some covering on my hair. So it looks like we're Muslims, but we're not. Because if you were to meet us, you would see that we strive to live in peace. So it's no different in that regard, but it's different in we don't believe, we know the truth.
Brother Crew, what did you say was the original name of Islam?
Tawedo.
How do you spell that?
Tawhedo. And that's not even the earliest.
That kind of sounds like Taoism. Like the Chinese?
Listen, it all comes from one source. And who was the original Chinese people?
Taiwan.
I don't know.
Have you know?
They. I'll tell you one thing. You wouldn't be able. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Wait, I can answer that question.
You would listen. If the original Chinese was sitting in this room, you wouldn't tell the difference.
Yeah. From the mountains.
That's what I'm trying.
Like
so
that some of them had curly hair and some of them had straight hair. From that.
Okay, I could walk out today and see some of me with curly hair, some of me with straight hair. It was no different.
Are they from Ethiopia? That's my answer.
Yes, we're all Ethiopians.
Okay, all dark-skinned people.
Yes, we're all Ethiopians. Everywhere they used to call Ethiopia. So
smarter than the 5th grader.
Yeah,
yeah,
you are.
You know.
Okay,
so
you know,
there's one thing I want to give you before I close this book, Gail. Just one thing. Religious freedom. A freedom? Oh, okay. We can end with freedom. No, we can end with freedom. I said no because I'm on. Because I'm on.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's what I.
So I call you by your free national name, Freedom,
People
already.
Sometimes they think my first name is Gail. They're confused because I just dropped my last name, but Vivian Gail.
Yeah.
Even though it's gay Al. Okay, I got you. Still in the right part though.
I'm not going to touch that one.
L. All right. Religious freedom.
She's a writer too.
Within I know. Within Constitution embraces not only the right to worship God according to the dictates of one's conscience. So if we're really talking about religion, it's not based on what someone else is telling you how to worship God. It's based on what your conscience.
What are you looking at?
Religious freedom. Religious freedom.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That's one of my 5 core pathways.
Yes. Religious freedom. So within Constitution embraces not only the right to worship God according to the dictates of one's own conscience, but also the right to do or forbear to do any act for conscience sake, the doing or forbearing of which is not inimical to the peace, good order, and morals of society. Right. So when we talk about religion, that's about being a good, moral human being. That ain't got nothing to do with a book, Bible, Quran, Buddha. You know, it got none. It's just about being a human being.
And the
being
only reason
basic
why I keep bringing it up
humanity.
is how I got back into the place where I am now is by studying prophecy. End times, you know. So that's how I got back where I am right now. So that's where where I find my passion, because I think that I understand it probably more than any other part of the Bible, as far as thinking that, I don't know, that it makes sense enough that I can point to it and say, hey, yeah, that came true. You know, so it's likely that the rest of the story is going to come true. Right. You know what I'm saying? But as far as I don't trust some of the things, like for instance, how they went through great length to change the name of the Father from Yahuwah to Yahusha, and even name BC and AD in time after it, and to even change the calendar.
Gregorian calendar,
lengths here
to keep us
asleep.
Now, this is how I think. I'm like, if you got to go through all that, for me, it would have just been a lot easier for me to just kill everyone. Why even go through the process of, man, how much stuff do I got to create just to keep the lie going? You see what I'm saying? That's because they need us. It's easier to just get rid of us. Why go through, like you said, why go through all this just to keep us in a particular way of thinking, but you still need us alive? You can't get rid of us.
You know what's funny? It's
like New Jack City, man. We that baby. We that baby, Nino Brown holding, man. That's why nobody want to shoot. If it wasn't for that baby, he would have been laced with bullets. Ain't nobody cared for him. They cared for that baby, though. And that's how the rest of the world look at us. We that baby.
Listen to my 5 core pathways to personal freedom. Now, I'm gonna tell you, when I was looking for a name for my business or for my non-church church, I started writing down the pathways that I took. Right. Now, the things that I put in here, I didn't even know that it had a connection to all the stuff that we're talking about right now. Right.
Go ahead. Keep
so
going.
It says spiritual freedom. I'm going to read spiritual freedom and religious freedom. So spiritual freedom is to know that you are inherently connected to one universal source, a spiritual power that created all life. I call this power Yahuwah, Creator God.
Yeah.
And to know that no religion or person can give spiritual freedom to you or take spiritual freedom away from you. Okay? So then it goes emotional freedom. But religious freedom I have is learning that you have the right to choose at any age and at any time what religion you accept and live out as your truth. When you achieve that state of freedom, you realize that you do not have to choose any religion at all.
Correct.
That religion does not define who you are, and that God is too big to fit into one religion.
Yes.
Okay, so this is just
God is too big to fit into one religion. Yes.
To believe of myself, for myself, and that's why I started calling myself freedom, because I felt like I had lived in so much bondage, you know, and through so much pain and been stepped on, you know. And then I said, you know what? I'm not gonna, until I get my emotional freedom, you know, reclaim my past. When I get rid of all this emotional and religious dogma that torments me, you know, I'm telling you, because you think like you're sinning, for instance. You drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
You know, this happened to my daughter. She's so scared because of right and wrong and being condemned
Doing the right
God.
thing in hell and fear. It's all fear based.
Yeah, and so she can't make her peace because of the way that she, and the mistakes that she made. She doesn't forgive herself. She doesn't think God's going to forgive her. And I went through the same thing. I was baptized 7 times as an adult because I kept feeling like I was worthless. I kept feeling like I was a sinner and I was never going to be able to do right. And then finally one day I was laying in the bed and I felt suicidal myself, and I was like, I can't go on. I can't keep living like this. I keep, you know, I said, so I started talking to my internal self. You know, and started asking myself, who am I? You know, what value do I see in me? You know what I'm saying? And then I started to look at myself as a parent, you know, and my children. You know, like, if I was God, would I tell my child, when you wake up in the morning, that there's nothing good in you but me? And if you don't obey me, you don't do anything, I'm going to throw you into a pit.
Yeah, I'm going to disown you.
Forever.
I'm going to disown you.
You know, it just... These
But
are
that
the
is
questions.
that is exactly,
And that's a
how it
realistic
is,
way of
though.
looking at that.
Like,
Yeah.
Mother Nature is law, and when her children are disobedient, she destroys us. Yes, that's calamity. That's earthquakes. And all.
Yes.
So it's just like a child.
Yes.
If they are disobedient
Thank
to
you.
your law, you will destroy them.
This is what I said in loving law. I said, and when you come to understand, you become your own savior.
Yeah.
Because you make your own choices, and when you
want
make
that book.
When you make a choice, right, that is going to be negative, right? Right. If you're thinking from a negative place, you're going to make a negative action. So you become your own savior, and you become your own condemner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so while I say the only savior that we really need is ourselves, you know, to bring us out of one state into the next of freedom mentally, you know, and spiritually, because it wasn't until I started to let go of all that stuff, you know, that I can start to, you know, to find myself.
Unincorporated is the way to go.
Well, what she said, when I let go, then I birthed a new being, which is who we looking at right now.
Outside.
You know.
So all I can say is that, you know, I found a lot of truth in Bible prophecy, and I think that's enough for me as far as what we studied, as far as to see where we are and what we need to do. You know what I mean? But I think that in my comment earlier is that what I studied about the kingdom of God is that after Yahushua and Yahuwah come back, that there's going to be 1,000 years, or what they call a millennia.
No.
That those that are caught up or redeemed during that time when he first comes back are, according to the Bible, are going to be teachers. They're going to be reigning with Yahuwah and Yahushua for 1,000 years, and because he's going to teach us the right way to live, he's going to teach us
We're going to go back to those ancient
You see
principles
what I'm
and
saying?
customs and usages that we used to doing,
And
like
he's gonna
barter and
send us back
trade.
to our own lands. You see what I'm saying? He's going to make restitution and make things right.
Yeah, he's going to heal the lands. But in order to do that, we got to, because, you know, he calls us by our name, but we don't hear him.
Because we don't know our names.
Because we don't know our names, right? And until we actually hear the call of our name and we respond, only then will our land be healed.
They call me Mark. Who's Mark?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what the book is saying. Like, I call you, but you don't respond. I call you, cool. But for some reason, when someone says Reginald, you say yes. Mr. Jules, yes. But I say cool. Nothing. Oh, I guess you don't need no help. You know what I'm saying? I want to look kingdom up. But you know, I like to break words down. So when you say kingdom, I always think about king, dome. King, dome.
The head.
A dome. So then I think about seek ye first. The kingdom.
Yeah. And see, so now what you're doing is what I've been doing all night, is kind of making parallels, which you don't like.
I do that all the time.
Nationalism and what the Bible says, because everything that's in the Bible is not exactly as you see it. There's another analogy. There's another parable for it.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it. Now, if this is even a Bible written in code, that I can even see it opening more the more I study this nationality.
Oh, it's gonna open. Trust me. That's why I don't ever tell people to throw away their Bible or whatever book of understanding they're reading, because honestly, we're supposed to study all of the prophets, all the way from Confucius, all the way to Drew Ali, all the way to Buddha. We should be analyzing.
I love Buddhism. I love Tao. I love
because there's wisdom in all of those teachings. So we're supposed to be looking at all of them, not just this is the book I read. This book is the best of all the books. We're not supposed to be like that.
That's why I said in the first.
They're all pretty much even.
Yeah, they're all. You know why? Because they're all speaking to those different people.
You got your strong part, and all got the weak part.
Yeah, but you gotta remember too, the books and the stories relate to those people. So like, if you look at Buddhism, right, they'll have the same story, like with Jesus and Mary, but it's gonna speak to them and how they look. Our problem is we'll partake in the culture, but then we'll pray to a God that don't look like us, or we won't transform. That entity to reflect us. When every other nation, they're not looking at like, Jesus. They have pictures, paintings of a dark-skinned Jesus that looks like them. They want to see themselves, so that they can embody what they're seeing. How can you embody something that don't look like you?
Yeah, just like they say with the white Barbie dolls, and they want to make black babies.
Yeah, that's why it was so hard for me. That's why it's so hard for me to learn history when I was in school, because all the stuff they were showing me about history had nothing to do with me. I was looking at a bunch of European people. I didn't really care about what they did to my ancestors of slavery. But once I was like, my ancestors did a lot of stuff, it made it easier to remember.
They're teaching you that Christopher Columbus came and then they killed all the Indians. I mean, come on now. So how could you discover something if there's already people here? But I used to always get in trouble in class because I would ask questions like that.
Listen, this is an even more simple question. If a stranger came to this door right here, and I opened it, and he just walked in and said, "Hey, I'm a little hungry. I'm gonna help myself to your fridge. All right, thanks." What would y'all think?
That he lived here?
Huh?
If I didn't know he was a stranger, I just think that he.
Well, what if my facial reaction was like something's wrong? Like I'm like.
You would think that he'd been here before, that he has some rights.
Or he might be overstepping his bounds.
Okay.
The reason why I'm saying that is because they paint a picture of us as the natives to like where when Columbus came, we rolled out a red carpet for him. Yeah, welcome to Hollywood. Hey, here's all our gold. This is how we treat our. I was like, dude, we have women and children. You're gonna let any stranger come to your door? You're gonna let them into your house with your women and your children there? Your prized possessions, your jewels, and your valuables? No, you're gonna meet him out in the water. You're gonna say, "Hey, I see a ship coming," because that sounds more realistic to me. Hey, I see a ship coming. Hey, take the women and children, go over there. Get some canoes, get some spears. We'll meet them out. We'll see what's going on. That makes more sense because I wouldn't open the door for a stranger and open my house to him.
Well, I thought you meant like you knew he was a stranger, but we didn't. And that he came in.
Well, no, but look, if we all on our land and we see some dude and his ain't familiar, we all know like that ain't familiar because we all here already. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I'm like, how come like when you watch all these movies, and somebody strange comes, they're always ready with guns.
Yeah, like they make it seem like we were hostile. It wasn't like because like we have women and children. Like you got to think like that. We weren't just all like, "Hey, sure, come through, check out my place. Here's all my cool stuff."
No, it's even like that in the rain.
Yeah, we didn't do that. We don't. If we wouldn't do that today, we didn't do that back then because we still our ancestors. So I'm like, if I went to open my door for a stranger and be like, "Mi casa, su casa" today, I sure as hell ain't doing that in no damn 1492. Come on, I ain't doing that in 1492 if I ain't gonna do that in 2018.
Well,
Yeah, you kidding me?
that's why I said she cracked me up when she said I'm not taking the white people, but for some reason white people love me. Like it's funny how she said that. They do because they see that we're talented. Like I went to a business meeting last month, and I forgot to go this month in the library for business owners, and one lady followed me outside, and she said, "You have so many gifts and talents," and I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
You
Now
know,
don't
just like-
hate them.
But I mean,
They're just like in awe.
We don't
was-
have a
yeah,
ribbon.
They're really in awe because they don't
Yeah.
have don't have those abilities. They're not creators like that. So it's like you really just gotta like be appreciative for what you got and just respect when someone's like,
and that's why I ask because
Wow.
white people love me.
They're
I'm
in
telling you
awe.
the truth. I don't know what to do with them. Like when if they want to come to Bible study and I'm going to teach them, I was thinking I'm going to be teaching them the same thing we're learning.
Yes.
So now you're saying, why should I teach them the same thing you're learning if they can't come into the fold?
Well, this is what I say. Teach. Okay, so this is it's a hard work. Okay, it's not that your love. Yes, because your love, they're drawn to you.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones who are drawn to you, if your heart feels like teach them, do that. Okay, I'm telling black people though, you have to tell black people that it's not their job to do something so that they don't feel compelled,
Pressured,
in their
yeah.
mind. Like, oh, I have to. No, so your urgency is for people that look like you, but if they gravitate towards you, give them the law. Now, some of these pieces aren't meant for them to do, but this is what I tell them. What was your grandma? Okay, I asked them the same questions I asked black people. Who was your mother? Who was your grandma? Where was she from? So I tell them, I said, yo, you gotta go, because they try to convince you that they're good white people, and I tell them that there are no good whites because by the definition, white was created for evil.
white's not a nationality.
So
Where is this information coming from?
So what do you mean? No, heck no. I'm talking about segregation. When those terms were birthed, when the racism was birthed, and white and black, it was a way to keep you out and let you in. So by the very definition, we can't have a good white person. So they look at me, they say, well, what do you mean? Like, I would never do those things, and I don't. So this is what I say. I said, what was your grandma? Well, my grandma was Lothian. Well, go be that. And I told her, guess when it matters. Doesn't matter that you're Lothian around me because I'm not really black. I'm not black. You have to be Lothian around those people that you work with that look like you and y'all think y'all white. But when they tell that joke in the break room and then you don't laugh because you're a good white person and they say, why didn't you laugh? You didn't laugh at that joke. There's no black people around. You're supposed to tell them I'm not white. If you're good and you want me to believe that you're good and that you believe in the law, you want to help. Some white people, when they hear this shit, they're like, yo, how do I help the Moors? Stop being white. Stop being white around other white people. You have to actually say, because think about it, yo, our job, what is, you and I, when we come into this work, we're not being black around other people who think they're fucking black. We're around people that look like us every day that think they're black.
So what are black people?
Black people are lawless people. So if you don't know who you are, that means that you don't have any culture. You don't have anything guiding you.
You're also collateral for the United States.
Yeah, you're collateral.
You're literally the money that they're using to
you're
trade.
Black or white. So I tell white people, yo, nationality is for you too. You need to go be whatever, get as close to nature as you can. We are nature. So we know that Caucasians are not the original Germans, but that's as close as they can get to nature that we would allow. We would allow you to be German or anything that looks pale. That speaks to that.
Will allow, who will allow?
We talking about the ones that know ourselves. So we are the power. Once you know yourself, and you are the gauge for everybody. So yes, those people who think they're good white, you gotta make it's not making them. When they're in your midst, I tell them first off, you're clear. And you need to rectify your nationality. When you're around me, just be what your grandma was. But I tell them you're clear. The people who I've led into my circle, and it's very small, girl, I got like 2 or 3 of them, okay? It's not a lot of them.
You mean white people?
Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't hate them. Yeah. I just don't trust them because how do I know? This is what they say. They're like, yo, we're good white people, but you look exactly like the ones who were evil to me. So how do I know that? And my white friends think I'm crazy.
It's just like,
you have to be clear.
Like, I'm on the school board, right? And they would put my name down as like a co-chairperson. But every time I have an idea, they're like, oh, okay. And just keep moving right along. Well, and I'm like, well, why am I here? I'm just here for a token black person.
Because you haven't taken you haven't seen the educational world that you're in as it relates. See, once you know nationality, so I'm on an education board too, right? Mm-hmm. And every time we sit down to try to talk about something, I keep saying, but we cannot do that. And I'm telling them, first off, I'm not going to be on this board long if you guys keep saying POC in the meeting. First off, that's incorrect.
Okay.
So there has to be things that when you're in the meeting, when something rubs you wrong or nope, that doesn't describe me.
Yeah.
People have to shift. So you're like a magnet in any space, yo. Yeah. If there's a magnet like you, it won't go together. You see what I'm saying? Like usually if you try to put two magnets together, they won't go. But if you stick it to something that's like it, it will draw.
If I don't know myself, I can't do that. Right?
Yeah, well let me tell you.
Know thyself is the
you know a lot though. This is the thing. For us who've been in church, in the spiritual side of things, some of us get those downloads. So on a spiritual level, we're operating in death. Like we're alive spiritually as a being, but we're operating like we're dead into all these others. So we have this knowing, but it never like makes a spark anywhere.
Yeah.
Because something's blocking us.
When I was reading to him before about the Personal Freedom Center and what Personal Freedom meant, it's like I named it, but then it started coming to me. Even though I named it, I didn't really understand the fullness of it.
Sure.
And that's how I feel
it's gonna come as you go.
Yeah, so just other people start shit. Now I'm telling you, if you look up the 1920 Board of Education, their whole philosophy.
You should read it for her.
It's not, the whole point of school existing from the 1920s on is to make puppets. They don't care about making artists or geniuses.
And they're taking those art programs out of schools to save money.
Yeah, because they just want people that fit in slots.
Right,
It's like, okay, this year we're making doctors. This year we're making lawyers. This year we're making... And now they're not even making anything. They're making obedient slaves. People who believe that go to college, get a job. Yeah. And get good credit. That's,
But even now, like, when I moved here from Connecticut, you had lockers and books that you take home to study. Yeah. In Washington, they didn't even get books. They got dittos.
Yeah.
How can you open up a book and study when you go home from a ditto?
Yeah.
What are you really supposed to learn from it? You know what I mean, a ditto?
Yeah, I know. Like I know. You mean a copy that they stapled,
But see, they would give you a ditto. To me, that was the school assignment. And then I would go home and read the book.
To read the book.
But now, you can't do it. How are your kids supposed to learn anything?
They don't learn anything. So now I'm telling you, as you're a really smart, brilliant woman, man. So I tell them when I go to my board meetings and they're like, we're going to teach Know Your Rights trainings. You can't do that if you're still calling yourselves POC. I'm telling you that no one's taking us serious because of how we are describing ourselves. So once you have identified, you see all the mishaps, all the lies that they've done to us. So when you listen to their agendas now, there's something inside you that's like, no, that's not right. This should be the focus. And then you have to say, when something doesn't feel right in the space, say it. Because they're counting on you to say it, and when you don't, you're showing them how ignorant to something you are.
I just feel like when they plan an event, for instance, they'll allow me to volunteer or do something. But even though, like, without even my permission, the head of the board put me right underneath her, when she sends out, it says chaired by me and Vivian Gale. I didn't even know she was going to do that. She just did it. Yeah. But when I'm actually in the meeting, and I give my opinion on how something should go or something should be, it's like I didn't even say anything. It's like sometimes I just feel like, it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mostly white people on that board.
Yeah. And the one black guy that was there when I first started, he looked mad all the time, and now I don't see him.
He was mad though, because I'm sure he gets tired. Now I'm telling you, they put you up, they put you as whatever right underneath her, because that whatever agendas they have, when they go into the community, they gotta have a face that looks like the community in a power position. So they're utilizing you to make everyone else agree with whatever agendas they got. So if I was you, I'd really, what are their agendas? Okay, because that's something to know. Because they're asking black people to sign on to something that they wouldn't.
You know, even so that there has to be a certain number of African Americans or what they call minorities, in a workplace.
But you know what? Now you know what minority means. So that just means that we got to have a face, but they're not really with it up here.
Right, they're not looking at it like an actual contributing member.
Right.
That has value.
Right.
Only value that you can say, I met my quota.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What title do they have? Did they put a title next to your name?
Yeah.
What is that?
I think it's like chairperson or something like that. I gotta look.
Girl, let me tell you, the chairman of any meeting, it is your job to moderate the meeting. So essentially, you're a major power player. So if I was you, I would look up what a chairman's job on this type of board is to do. And when you go to the next meeting, then you pull that power holder to the side and you say, you know what? I'd like to bring something to the forefront. I realize that you put this title next to my name, and this is what that title represents. I realize I'm not representing that. So I have a job to either not hold that title and not be here, or if you want me to stay an active member, then I need to embody fully this position. Yeah. When you talk to them like that, they're going to be like, oh, shit.
I felt like I should say it in an open forum.
Well, like, even do it. Do it. That would be best.
Then everybody knows
yes.
why is she sitting here looking stupid.
Yes.
And her name is listed,
Definitely. Because that's usury. Again, I told you, being a board, we don't contribute to usury in any way.
Yeah, in my mind, I was thinking, I know this is there, and I know the reason why, but how am I going to benefit from this?
Don't leave it though. Let me tell you, girl, I love educational academia. Let me tell you, I show up like this, y'all, and when they see me, most people think I'm a kid. Most of the time, okay? So sometimes they're like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, well, I'm Halisi Ali. Oh. Because then they're like, oh shit, we emailed her. We asked her to join us because usually people know what I do, okay, in fundraising world or as an advocate. So they're like, oh shit, that's her? She doesn't look, I can see it on their face. Oh, okay. So then I sit down and I'm quiet. I usually listen first, because I got to know, what is your agenda? What the hell are y'all talking about? So you have a good position. You just have to utilize your power. I swear I'm going to get a couch with some legs on it.
That's a big family now.
Why you watching her go in there?
Here's your good.
Nosy butt. I swear, man, babe, that doorknob fell off again. I don't know how to put it back on.
I'm just gonna change the knob. I'm just gonna change the knob.
Gorilla Glue. Oh, Gorilla Glue. That's the.
I think that it's like, I think the doorknob is stripped, because it's like a screw knob.
Oh, right. You probably got to get another screw.
I need a new
doorknob and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They sell them anywhere. It's hardwood.
Yeah, it's like a double-sided screw, and you just screw the knobs on. Yeah, I think it's stripped. So when you go to turn it, it just turns. It turns. It'll spin. You'll be like, no, I can't get out of here.
That's what happened first. I couldn't get out.
Yeah, the screw is stripped. I didn't know that until I took it apart.
Yeah.
What you looking at? Your daddy? Yeah, man. They be thinking I don't know nothing when I go to those meetings.
I tell you what, you and if you two get together, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
You two will create so much.
I want to, because like I told her, especially think about it, man. Right now in Auburn, there is a heroin epidemic, okay? So,
white people always will fund anything when they are the ones dying from something.
Right.
So she has all this research from like how the addicted baby heals from music, okay?
Right.
Now I'm sure that works for the addict mother too and the baby. Now if we created some kind of program that you shop it, you make brochures, you name it, and it's real. You take it and you're like, hey, we are such and such and such, and we have the research that music heals babies in this way.
This is what I did my first business, the Spirit Productions. Okay, so when I went to the business, Small Business Association to get help in my business, Freedom Center, I told her about what I used to do, and I showed her some of my videos on the addict baby dies and all that stuff, and she started crying. This is what you should be doing. And I'm like, I tried to, but nobody would listen to me.
Yeah.
She said, go home and start and develop a program and come back.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna help you, carry your message to addicts and alcoholics into the schools.
I'm gonna show you something, and I'm telling you right now. So the work that I do, they are looking primarily for people that look like the community. They are wanting people that have this knowledge that is able to connect relationally. Because white people, they have this knowledge sometimes, but they don't have the ability to connect like as a why they can't on a heart level, because they're living a lie. They are living a lie that their ancestors told them, and so now they have conviction with a lie, and that's why they don't feel anything, because they're living a lie. So we know the truth, and we are the truth, so all we have to do is package it up. And when you're exactly right, when you said a lady cried, I'm telling you, man, there is, I'm looking for my phone because these people reached out to me. They have these trainings for teachers, okay? And they need presenters.
Okay.
They need someone that can present, they have 2 topics. I can, I'll send you the link. But they have 2 topics, but you have to present, and they give you the agenda breakdown. So not the content. The content is your own. And they don't want you to just talk people to death. They said that people should be able to do something during this training because they're teachers. They will pay you to do this shit. I'm telling you. And this is for so that we can train our teachers on how, you see how you got to give Europeans the law, because right now they're uncivilized teaching your children, which is why your children come back home uncivilized. So you have to give the teachers the law so that they can connect with the truth with these children. If they knew that their ancestors lied to them about something, they wouldn't, and I don't give it all to them, but I tell them, after Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, this was supposed to happen. Most white people know the story. They're like, oh shit, she's right. So we have to reteach them with the truth. And there are hella fun ways to do that. So he's right. I can't wait to brainstorm with you. He said if we brainstorm, he said, I'm sure y'all can come up with all kind of...
Oh, yeah. Like I said, even if it's just once or twice a month, you know what I'm saying? It's better than nothing. Or once a week phone call until we get organized. And
Birthrights!
Definitely.
I'm definitely, open, and I need to start... my issue is that I'm a creator. And I know that I have to go out there and share what I create, but I'm happiest creating. I'm happiest. So but the other side of it, I'm like, okay, I know.
Let me tell you, we are a dynamic duo. If you put anything on paper, I will chop the hell out of that. Especially because I know you and I believe in what you're talking about. I don't mind. I'm one of those people, when you say, I just want to create, I don't have time to try to take out what I'm creating.
I'm supposed to. I mean, I love it. And I do want to get to that place, but like I said, I have to make peace with everything that I have. I don't want to, like the first business I had, downtown Tacoma, Revelation Christian Counseling, I went in there and not finished with everything. And so while I was getting clients, I was still trying to finish the paperwork some of the paperwork from the state. And then I got overwhelmed, real life was happening, and it didn't last. And so now I'm trying to make sure I have all my ducks in a row. Every book is exactly how I want it. And not even that, but all my speeches, I already have one already done, but Lisa Nichols, I should have at least 3 go-to speeches, and then I should memorize it. So that one that I did on my video as far as life coaching, motivating masses and stuff, that's done. So I got a second one, so I just gotta work on it. They have that.
Well, family, it's been about 2 hours. We about to wrap up.
Same everywhere, but that's
Sure.
Thank y'all for
But
building.
you know what your
Thank y'all for
answer,
joining
your
the study
why.
session. Appreciate
On
y'all.
every level,
Hope the
and
information
like
was
you said,
helpful.
you're creating, but
Keep
the-
on building.
everything that you're creating connects
Islam and
to a
everybody.
main why.
Alright, so I'm about to get out of here.
It's just that the
About
way
to wrap
that
up.
you
Yeah.
express,
Let them go
it's like,
home,
okay,
handle
if
their
I'm in
business.
academia,
Alright,
this
about
is
to do the
okay.
same.
My why
Islam,
is blah
love
blah
life,
blah. If
fam.
I'm in therapy world, I know
Oh,
that
y'all have a
too,
good
so
night. I
this
hope the
is- but
information
it's
was
the
valuable.
same why it's just
You know I always be doing this,
Just
so
presented
Just-
different
yeah.
because different audience.
just stick with me, man. I'll stick with y'all.
Yes.
Alright.
You guys.
I suck
Islam
at
fam.
timing,
Any inquiries, hit me up.
If you
SunoUniversity@gmail.com.
I'm trying to take my life
Alright,
back.
peace
okay?
to
I
all
feel
y'all
like my
Moors,
family
all y'all
kinda
braves.
gets my whole
Peace to
life.
all the
Yeah.
braves.
Like, to where I mean, when you
Alright,
asked me to
this
think
may be
about
the land of the
salon,
free,
I was
but it's the
like,
home
God, it's
of the braves. Alright, we some braves
You
up
asked
in
me about a
here.
salon.
But we got
last
heart.
night, Like, do I
Islam.
go to salon and spa?
Love.
So I'm saying that I'm trying to recapture time
Yeah.
to where I'm meeting weekly
Yeah.
or talking to somebody about
Right.
what I like.
Yeah.
And we